Hi, welcome to Watcher DM. I'm Gabriel. Today I'm continuing my series of flip through and review videos based on adventures that I have run, hopefully recently. Today I am talking about Dying Hard on Hardlight Station, written by Dave Kenny of Magnum Galaxy Games. And kind of a twofer, the supplemental Deep Space Assets and Liabilities Annual Report, Decrypted, the Nakatomi.Papers, which is kind of a setting book supplement for this adventure and the horror on Tau Sigma 7. So because I used this heavily while preparing for this game, I wanted to just go ahead and do these both at once. First, my copy is damaged. There was some goo, I think, at the con when I picked this up, and it got on the cover, and I tried to wipe it off, and so it's slightly damaged. So that's me being not kind to my things. This adventure module is well constructed. It's, it falls in line with all the other Mothership content of its era, which is well constructed, well conceived, terse, 28, I think, pages end to end, with, nice, dense layout and formatting, covering honestly, kind of covering a lot. So let's talk about this module's contents, and then I'll talk about what we kind of changed. So, welcome to Hardlight Station, how to use this module right up front, very nice to have. Basically, there's kind of a double threat going on here at Hardlight Station in the standard adventure sense, with the Blackshield Mercenary Company coming to steal the technology from the Tau Sigma horror adventure, and also that Tau Sigma horror kind of getting loose. So, some pretty fun little how to win options here, which is kind of nice. I think at one point I definitely kind of just told my players, look, this is kind of where this is going. Here's your options. And they were like, yeah, we're blowing the place up. And when I told Dave that, he chuckled. Oh yeah, I guess I should probably disclose that I know Dave Kenny. He's a recent friend of mine, and we've been playing some games together. I'm going to tell you what I think about the book. It's not bad. Whatever. If you think that that's because I know him, fine. But, yeah, so how to win, we got through that stuff. By and large, I think his indication was most people overload the reactor. Seems like a pretty good way to go. Other ways to use this module can be you're just running one of the two scenarios, which could be kind of cool. We kind of did this start as an inhabitant of the station slightly, and I'll get into that later. And we did kind of do this, where Hardlight Station was kind of where the party was going and where they hung out for a little while. And yeah, again, I'll talk about that. So the threats are described here. So there's a corporate invasion, and then the horror from Tau Sigma 7. And then when the quarantine fails. So this is when things start to go really wrong in the station, and kind of how to deal with that. The Healthtek faction is the one that's obviously kind of has the Tau Sigma substance. Dr. Holland Genero plays a really big role in this adventure. Although he isn't generally on camera, I don't think, by and large. He might show up later. This is also where they describe the Tau Sigma hybrids and the ghoulings, which were fun monsters to throw at them. The Blackshield Mercenary Company is the Han Gruber, mercs who come in to kind of take over the place. They're the corporate invasion. And These characters, I didn't have an amazing time running. I found the support here to like. I feel like this was trying to offer me something that I didn't understand how to use. So, I did what I could with them, but I didn't really feel like they presented the threat that they probably should have or could have during the actual adventure that we ran. Black-clad thugs, well armed and out for a buck. So, they were scary. Like the party was running from them. It was obvious that they were an important threat, but I think because of that, the party didn't interact with them very much. So hard to sell how scary something is when the party is just running away from it. Maybe that's them being scared of it. Maybe that's enough. Nakatomi Solutions Inc. Is the faction that currently holds Hardlight Station. They're like the administrators of Hardlight Station. And also the employers of my PCs for the Tau Sigma horror and this adventure. So I think we had a couple of scenes with some Nakatomi executives, getting ready for that Christmas party, hanging out. And I think the information provided here was useful, if not totally used. I didn't end up using all of it just because there's kind of a lot there. The map. Let's talk about the map. So, first of all, it's a cool map. It's a cool station. It didn't necessarily key to me right away. Like, these are the vents. So, like, the vents from engineering go here into living quarters, I guess? And then from living quarters up to Commerce District. And then from Commerce District over to Atrium. And from Atrium over to Medbay. Because I was using the Nakatomi papers, and they talk about these kids being kind of in the hull, I ended up just kind of using that as a liminal space that was kind of connected tangentially to a lot of these vents. And so the party ended up spending a pretty substantial amount of time in there. And then ultimately using this kind of main shaft here, which I treated much more like an elevator shaft than a kind of normal passage. Yeah, I think it's a visually dense kind of piece of art for a map, which is good. It's evocative. I could have actually probably done a little bit better with a diagram, I think, than what we got here, for my purposes. And I only realized at the very end that the freight elevator is right here, which we'll get into later. So, the core Invasion Ground Zero, this is like the main kind of locations on here. So, like, it's got the med bay, the atrium, the living quarters, the commerce district, and engineering, all in that core there. The encounters table for most of the adventure is here. Not a great place for it, if I'm being perfectly honest, because I didn't spend a ton of time on this page. Mostly because my party was kind of running all over the place. And then, stuff found in these places. I don't think I ever used this table, but it probably would have been really cool if I had. I don't think my party didn't go to the med bay, nor did they start in the med bay. And the engineering, like when they went there, they were literally just trying to toss the reactor. So by the time they got to this stuff, it wasn't like, oh, we're looking for stuff. It was more like, what, is there a vac suit here? I was like, yeah, there's got to be a vac suit, right? Security and administration, Nakatomi's last stand. My party spent all of 5 minutes here, I think, and ultimately just pieced out. Like, they did not stick around. So we didn't interact with this location too much. Blackshield's temporary HQ and the docks. My party didn't go to the docks until the very end, and when they did, they were behind. So I don't even know that it describes it here. Freight elevator. So O4 locations, freight elevator, direct connection to engineering, unnoticed and unguarded. So this is where my PCs came into the docks, meaning they basically bypassed everything in this place, which was cool, but it definitely made this part of the book pretty meaningless to me. And I'm gonna say, I think, like, for what this is, these pages that are like really like a dense description of kind of what that section of the thing is really cool. In that, if I was playing a bunch of games here, or like multiple sessions kind of stuck in Hardlight Station, this could be some really interesting stuff to have happen. And I'm going to use these tables in other places, because Hardlight Station is gone now. In my universe, it's been blown up. But there's some really, really cool tables here. So I think, take the adventure and rip it up and turn it into parts for other stuff you want to do. Great idea with this one. The Healthtek module has your Healthtek encounters. Again, your locations inside of Healthtek. Again, I don't think my party spent very, very much time here at all. And then we get into, so this is kind of post adventure. This is like gazetteer stuff about Hardlight Station, so using it as a place. We did a bunch of stuff from this. So from this section of the book, Sadjack's Spacer Supply Company. This is the Hardlight Hotel, Bar, Bank, and Casino, which was a really fun little concept. Interstellar Opportunities Temp Agency. My party didn't even think about looking for a job, so they weren't worried about that. A Day on the Docks is another one that they didn't really interact with. And then some businesses here. I think I may have rolled some stuff on here. And then you've got your appendix of useful stuff. Hardlight achievements, actually, I think we actually need to hand some of these out, because I think my party actually got some of these. Also, really, really fun, the Christmas Party in Space table. Great art, great construction, really, really fun book. More than just an adventure. So I think that's probably the big takeaway from that, was that Hardlight Station, while it is Die Hard in space, ostensibly, the actual Hardlight Station concept and this book, the Nakatomi Papers, really allowed me to do something that I had not yet done in Mothership that I was excited to try, which was to do something more campaign play like. So my party had arrived from Tau Sigma 7 and went through basically the whole first session at Hardlight Station recovering. One of them took shore leave, the other one was looking for clues, and the android had been locked up in Healthtek for a while before being, kind of vaxed and released, because they were going to have to keep paying him. So most of this monster stuff I ended up using the Chimera rats, but I didn't end up using a lot of those monsters. But I read this whole book, and I think what I got from this whole book was like some of this news stuff was really fun to kind of have in my head of what was going on. The synth sin, or what is it? Sin/stim, more real than the real thing. This was like a really fun thing that I had them interact with. I think they ended up doing a brain dance as part of their downtime. And yeah, there was some great logs there. Hedonia Pleasure Services, they ended up using them as well. And then they definitely partied with Priyanka Pill Bakshi. And they ended up meeting up with the kid in the hull. And I used Al Powell. So there was some fun. It was really nice having these persons of interest. I used them pretty heavily from this book. And then, yeah, I think the rest of this book pretty much went unused for me. And I think this was like the last bit that was pretty fun. It was like this is the diagram for how to actually blow the reactor. We didn't talk about that. I just implied that they already knew how to do that. But that's how that went down. And yeah, honestly, dying hard at Hardlight Station, I think it went pretty well. My players were definitely nervous. But they survived. They made it out of there on a garbage scow and are currently kind of stranded in the debris field that Hardlight Station left behind. So, we'll see how that goes. 2 sessions for this one adventure mixed with the Nakatomi Papers. Like I said, I'm going to be using a lot of the tables from this in the future. It also comes with a really good digital pack of recordings, including the Christmas music, which I didn't play because we were using Discord, and I don't know, I find stuff like that kind of distracting on Discord. But really, really cool stuff that came out of this project. And yeah, I would recommend picking up Dying Hard on Hardlight Station if you are looking for a cool mothership adventure that's kind of an easy sell. It's easy to say it's Die Hard in space, and you're 2 movies into figuring out what the F is going on and what kind of night you're going to have. So, worth it if only for that. And that's what I've got tonight. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed. And if you want to support Watcher DM, of course, you can go to watcherdm.com, pick up any of our adventures or indie role-playing games. If you want to pick up Hardlight Station, there will be links in the thing down there. Of course, you can like, subscribe, thumbs, stars, whatever. And yeah, I think that's all I've got today. Thanks for watching, and thanks for playing. Bye.